There comes a moment in every life when silence becomes unbearable, when you can no longer escape the echo of your own thoughts, whispering the truth you've been avoiding. You were meant for more. More than the noise, more than the routine, more than the invisible cage that comfort built around your potential. That voice inside you, the one that refuses to die, it's not your enemy. It's the blueprint of your destiny, drawn by the invisible hand of your imagination. Napoleon Hill once said, "Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve." But those words are not magic. They are instruction, because the mind is not a storage room, it is a factory. And every thought you feed, it becomes a raw material in the construction of your reality. If you feed it doubt, it manufactures hesitation. If you feed it faith, it forges miracles. The question is not whether your mind is working, whether it's working for you or against you. Think of the greatest builders of history. Edison in the dark, chasing light through failure after failure. Ford, ridiculed for dreaming of an engine that could carry the common man. Carnegie, a boy in poverty who saw empires in his imagination. And Disney, who walked through bankruptcy with a mouse in his pocket and a dream in his heart. Each of them understood what most never will. The world you see is only a mirror of the one you build inside your mind. So, look around you. Every building, every invention, every fortune, every civilization began in someone's thought. A spark that refused to die in the face of rejection, ridicule, or fear. Because those who master their mind master their fate. And yet, most people surrender this power without even realizing it. They let fear rent space in their imagination. They let society dictate the blueprint of their destiny. They live in the architecture of someone else's vision, but not you. Because the fact that you're still listening means something in you refuses to sleep. It's that part of you that knows deep down that wealth, power, purpose, peace, and greatness are not given. They are forged in the unseen workshop of your thoughts. Every emotion, every habit, every outcome in your life is a product of what you've been producing. In the factory of your mind. You cannot plant weeds and expect roses. You cannot entertain failure and attract fortune. Your results are not random. They are reflections of your inner production line. And the moment you take control of what you allow to be built inside, outside world has no choice but to rearrange itself around your vision. So understand this. Your thoughts are not harmless. They are architects, engineers, and builders constructing the invisible scaffolding of your destiny. Every moment you think in fear, you lay a brick in the walls that confine you. Every moment you think in faith, you open a window to possibility. Most people wait for life to change before they change their thinking. But the truth, the ancient truth that Hill, Emerson, and every wise soul before them discovered, is that life changes after you do. You cannot outturn your mindset. You cannot outrun your self-image. But you cannot attract abundance with the hands of a beggar spirit. Because the law of mind is absolute. You will always live in harmony with your dominant belief. The mind does not argue. It accepts the commands you repeat with conviction. It is the most loyal servant you will ever have, and the most dangerous master. If you let it rule without discipline, your imagination is the assembly line. Your emotions are the workers, and your actions are the delivery trucks of your inner factory. If you don't manage what's being produced. You'll wake up one day surrounded by results. No, you never wanted but unknowingly created. Look at the giants of history. Abraham Lincoln was not born into greatness. He built it brick by brick in solitude, forging resilience from ridicule, vision from loss, faith from endless failure. Thomas Edison failed 10,000 times, but he never called them failures, because in the factory of his mind, every failed attempt was a successful lesson. Peter, he didn't chase light, but he built it. He didn't seek success. He manufactured it through relentless faith. And that's the truth most never grasp. Fortune isn't found. It's manufactured. Art. It's not waiting in some faraway opportunity or miracle. It's forming right now in the invisible machinery of your thought patterns. Every time you visualize your success with faith instead of fear, you turn the gears of that factory. But every time you act despite doubt, you ignite its furnaces. Every time you persist when others quit, you stamp your signature on the masterpiece that will one day be called your destiny. But make no mistake, this factory demands discipline, because thoughts left unattended become sabotage. Doubt is a thief that sneaks in through idle thinking. Fear is corrosion that eats away at the metal of your faith. And indecision is the rust that freezes your machinery until even the strongest dreams fall silent. But why clarity is power. You must know exactly what you want, not roughly, not vaguely, but with precision sharp enough to pierce doubt itself. Your mind cannot build what you cannot describe. You must speak your vision like an architect describing the masterpiece before the first stone is laid. That is how the mind begins its work, through command, through clarity, through conviction. You are the CEO of your inner factory. You decide the designs, you hire the thoughts, you fire the fears. Build, you approve what gets built. And every belief you allow to stay becomes a structure in your reality. Guard that place like your life depends on it, because it does. Every empire begins within. Every kingdom, every invention, every revolution is first born as an idea, protected and nurtured until it matures into form. The greatest mistake a person can make is believing that success begins when the world notices them. No success begins in the quiet moments when no one is watching, when you are alone with your thoughts, sculpting the vision of who you will become. Inside that silence, your mind is working, shaping, aligning, calculating, preparing. The invisible gears of thought turn, creating patterns that become habits, habits that become identity, and identity that becomes fate. So, if you want to change your life, don't fight the outer world. Reprogram the factory inside. The world outside bends to those who command the world within. Look at the dreamers who changed everything. Steve Jobs was fired from his own company, but in exile, he built a clearer vision. He saw beyond the machine. He saw art in circuits, emotion in glass and metal. When he returned, that vision transformed the world. Why? Because he mastered the mind's most sacred power, imagination, under discipline. He didn't just dream. He directed his dreams. Discipline is not a cage. It's the frame that holds the vision steady. Without discipline, dreams are smoke. With it, they become architecture. Most people dream in bursts. They have flashes of passion, moments of ambition, but they never sustain the heat long enough to forge anything lasting. They let distractions steal their focus, and their factory runs wild, producing chaos instead of clarity. You must learn to rule your attention. Attention is the currency of creation. Whatever you give it to, you give life to. Give it to fear, and fear grows. Give it to faith, and your possibilities expand. Every time you focus, you feed the machinery of your destiny. Your attention is sacred. Treat it as such. And yet, attention alone is not enough. You must feed your mind the right materials. Books that sharpen you, people who challenge you, environments that stretch your limits. Garbage in, garbage out. You cannot produce excellence from mediocrity, and you cannot construct a palace with rotten bricks of negativity. This is why gratitude is not just a virtue, it's a tool. Gratitude purifies the raw material of your thoughts. It filters out resentment and fills the furnace of your mind with energy that attracts opportunity. Gratitude turns scarcity into abundance, fear into faith, and struggle into fuel. When you start to thank life, even for its storms, you begin to understand the deeper law. Life doesn't happen to you. It happens through you. And the more grateful you become, the more efficient your factory runs. Ideas flow easier. Solutions appear faster. Doors open where walls once stood. Why? Because gratitude aligns your mental machinery with the frequency of creation. It shifts your mind from what's missing to what's possible. And possibility, that's where every fortune begins. Remember this. The man who complains sees limitation, but the man who gives thanks sees leverage. Both are right, but only one will prosper. There is a law, older than time, carved into the foundation of existence. You become what you think about most of the time. Not sometimes, not occasionally, most of the time. Dominant thoughts carve grooves in your reality. They become paths that energy follows, patterns that circumstance obeys. You are not the victim of fate. You are the engineer of it. When Henry Ford said, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." He wasn't being poetic. He was revealing the blueprint of the mind's machinery. Every belief is a command to the subconscious. Every eye can fuel the engine of progress. Every eye can't cut the power. You are not simply living life. You are programming it. And the code you write is written in thought, emotion, and repetition. Say something to yourself long enough, feel it deeply enough, and act on it consistently. Punts. And your mind will make it real. It has no choice. Bats, not magic. Bats, mental physics. But here's the danger. This law works both ways. It will build your fortune or your failure with equal precision. Feed it excuses, and it will build barriers. Feed it courage, and it will build bridges. The mind does not choose sides. It obeys direction. And most people spend their lives sending mixed orders to their factory, asking for success while manufacturing fear. They say, "I want abundance," but their thoughts are soaked in scarcity. They say, "I want love," but they speak doubt in every word. They say, "I want freedom," yet their habits are chains. The mind cannot produce clarity from contradiction. To create what you desire, Your thoughts, emotions, and actions must operate in harmony, like a symphony, not a storm. And this harmony begins with belief. Belief is the furnace of the mind. Art, it's what gives power to imagination and weight to action. You cannot act with conviction when you doubt your own blueprint. And the world will never invest in a dreamer who hasn't invested faith in himself. Belief doesn't come from seeing evidence. RT creates the evidence. When Edison was building the light bulb, there was no proof it could work, only belief. Point. When the Wright brothers dreamed of flying, the world laughed, but their belief was stronger than gravity. When every expert said, it's impossible, they said, watch that, is the essence of creation. The truth is, the world doesn't reward the logical. It rewards the believer, because belief fuels persistence. It keeps the furnace burning when the world grows cold. It turns rejection into rehearsal and failure into foundation. Those who keep believing through bear the storm, build what others can only imagine in calm weather. So ask yourself, what are you building right now? When you wake up in the morning, what materials are you feeding your mind? Are you feeding it faith or fear, vision or because every day the factory runs, whether you control it or not, and the output of that factory becomes your future. Your life is a mirror, reflecting every blueprint your mind has drafted in secret. But if you see chaos, look inward. You've been producing confusion. If you see opportunity, you've been manufacturing clarity. Whatever exists in your world today is the invoice of your past thinking. But here's the beautiful truth. The factory can be rebuilt no matter how broken, no matter how lost you feel. Your mind can be retooled, recalibrated, redesigned for greatness. Change begins the moment you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? That single shift turns pain into production. Every obstacle becomes a raw material, not a wall, but a resource. Because growth does not come from comfort. Steel is not forged in cool water, yet shaped in fire. And your struggles are the flames that harden your resolve. Think of every legend who built their empire from nothing. They didn't wait for perfect conditions, they created them. Carnegie didn't inherit wealth. He inherited work. Edison didn't inherit success. He inherited struggle. Lincoln didn't inherit power. He inherited pain. Bet. Each of them understood one sacred principle. The mind that controls itself controls circumstance. Adversity is the training ground of the masters. It teaches you to separate emotion from purpose, distraction from direction. When life presses against you, it's testing your command over your mental machinery. Will you let the gears jam in frustration, or will you use pressure as fuel? Every failure is an inspection. Every setback, a recalibration. Every heartbreak, a redesign. You see, your subconscious is always listening. It takes your reactions as instruction. When you meet adversity with despair, you program weakness. When you meet it with calm and certainty, you program strength. The mind learns from how you respond, not just what you think. Respond like a builder, not a victim. When something breaks, rebuild stronger. When someone doubts you, reinforce your purpose. When the world says stop, make that word your ignition. The universe rewards the mind that refuses to yield. It respects persistence. It respects discipline. It respects faith expressed through relentless action. Faith without effort is fantasy, but faith backed by motion reshapes reality. Every day is production day in the factory of your mind. If you don't run the shift, fear will. If you don't write the schedule, excuses will. Presses, you must become the overseer of your own destiny. Awake to every thought you authorize, because one undisciplined thought can derail a week of progress. One seed of doubt can poison a forest of faith. Guard your inner world like a sacred empire. Feed it daily with ideas that elevate you, with words that strengthen you, with visions that stretch you, and when the noise of the world tries to invade, remember, the most powerful factories in history are built in silence. You don't need approval. You need alignment. You don't need permission. You need precision. You don't need motivation. You need mastery.